Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Monday, April the 12th. We've got a 9-game slate to break down. As always, we're going to go team by team, go through each game and talk about each team on this 9-game slate. I'll give you guys my early thoughts, what does stand out to me, looking at the slate on Sunday night, looking the night before. So before we do get started with the breakdown, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also get notified every time I do go live. I wasn't able to stream over the weekend, but I should definitely be back Monday afternoon live streaming for tonight's slate. We do have a little bit of a later lock tonight. Lock's at 7:30 Eastern time, so I'll probably go live around 4:30. If you're free then Monday afternoon, check my YouTube channel. Should be live streaming then. You can come hang out. I can answer all you guys' questions for tonight's slate. We can break down everything once again in the live stream. But yeah, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and take a look at Monday's slate. So we'll start off with the Sixers and the Mavs game. Looking at the Sixers side today, I don't think there's really a ton that stands out from Philadelphia outside of Joel Embiid, at 10,100. I think Embiid at this point is someone you can basically play every night. He only played 27 minutes last game against OKC on the back-to-back, but pretty sure, he lost a good amount of time in that game due to blowout. He still had 51 DK points. He still was very productive in that time. I expect normal minutes from Embiid here. As long as this game is close, we should get probably 32, 34 minutes from Embiid, if not, more than that. At 10,100, he is someone you can definitely pay up for on the slate. I don't mind him at all, but I'm probably not considering anyone else on the Sixers team. Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, they really haven't been doing it lately. They haven't really been worth their price tags. They need to be cheaper, in my opinion. Like Ben Simmons, with how bad he's been lately, he should be like 7K. Harris should be like 7,200. So I think they're both just overpriced. Tobias Harris did miss last game, but he's not on the injured report. He should be good to go for today. But yeah, it's really just Embiid for me and nothing else on this Sixers team. Looking at the Dallas side, though, talking about the Mavericks here. So this is a back-to-back for the Mavericks. Just keep an eye on that. I assume that everyone plays, but, Porzingis he's always a chance to rest on back-to-backs. But just assuming that everyone is good to go here, I think the only guy I'm really considering on Dallas is probably Luka. And on this slate, I don't think Luka's going to be really someone I jam in. To be honest with you, Luka really hasn't been that good lately. He really hasn't been someone you've needed. We haven't seen a good game from Luka in quite some time. It's been 9 straight games, less than 55 or less than 56 fantasy points for him. This matchup here is not great against the Sixers. We know they have Ben Simmons, who's a really, really good defender. I'm pretty sure Ben Simmons is going to be on Luka here. I don't get too focused on one-on-one matchups. I don't think it really matters that much, especially for a really good player like Luka. But yeah, 10,700 in a tougher matchup. I just don't think I'm really going to go to Luka on this slate. Would I be surprised if he puts up a big game? No. He can go out there and put up 70, 80 any night. But this doesn't feel like a slate where I'm jamming in Luka. Overall, this first game of the night is not one I have much interest in at all. For now, depending on news, maybe that'll change some things. But right now, nothing stands out from the first game of the night. So moving on to the next one, the Lakers and the Knicks. Now, this is a game I do have a good amount of interest in. There's some guys on the Lakers that I do like quite a bit today. We obviously know LeBron and AD are both going to remain out. Kyle Kuzma missed their last game. He's once again questionable for today. This is actually a pretty impactful injury. Last game with Kyle Kuzma out and Wesley Matthews out, we did actually see Taylor Horton-Tucker start last game, and he was very productive, played 34 minutes, had 40 DK points. THT should definitely be productive when he's on the floor, especially with no LeBron, with no AD. He's always been a high usage player, a guy that will produce when he's out there. He can score, he can rebound, and get assists. I do like him quite a bit today if Kuzma's out. Even at 5,300, I think THT is someone I'm still going to be looking to, assuming that he does start again. Now, if Kuzma plays, obviously that'll take my appeal away from THT, but that's just a wait and see for now. Andre Drummond, though, I like, regardless, 6,800 for Drummond. I liked him a lot last slate. And he was pretty good in limited minutes. He only played 22 minutes, but a lot of that was due to blowout. He did not play at all in the fourth quarter. I'm pretty sure Montrezl Harrell basically played out the entire fourth quarter. They didn't bring Drummond back in just because it was a blowout. He would have played probably around 30 minutes had it been a close game. As long as this game against the Knicks stays close, which it should, I think we do get around 30 minutes from Andre Drummond. And, in the 2 full games he's played with the Lakers, he's been pretty productive. 38 DK points in 27 minutes, 37 DK points in 22 minutes. We know Drummond's basically a walking double-double. He's going to get you probably a double-double almost every night. He's a guy that can block shots as well, can get defensive stats. He's just too cheap still. I think, I said it in my last video, as Drummond continues to get more minutes with the Lakers, he's just going to continue to see his price rise. In a week from now, Drummond will probably be like 8K. So we want to get on him while he's still just 6,800. I think he once again looks like one of the better center plays today. And I do like him a lot on Yahoo as well. Coming in at $30, I think he's a really strong play on Yahoo too. So Drummond, I would say, is probably my favorite play from the Lakers. But I do like THT a lot if Kuzma and Wesley Matthews are out. Dennis Schroeder, continues to be pretty productive on a point per minute basis. Just the last few games. Obviously, last game against Brooklyn, he got ejected. He only played 20, or after he had played 20 minutes, he got ejected, but did have 27 DK points in that time. And then the game before that, he had 38 DK points, played 40 minutes. I mean, he's been getting huge minutes lately. At 6,700, I think you can definitely look to Schroeder today. I would like him a little bit more if Kuzma were to be out, but I don't see anything else that really stands out from the Lakers. Probably not going to like any of these other guys. Maybe Markieff Morris you could play if Kuzma's out. He did play 30 minutes last game, had 30 DK points. He does benefit without Kuzma. His minutes are more secure. So I guess you could go there, but I'd probably rather play THT over Morris if Kuzma sits. So yeah, for now, I think Drummond's my favorite play from the Lakers, but if Kuzma's out and Wesley Matthews is out, I do like THT a lot. He'll definitely be someone I look to. But on the Knicks side, there's not as much interest for me on the Knicks. Like the Knicks have just not been a team I've really been rostering much of lately. We know Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, guys you can always roster, but this doesn't feel like a slate where I'd really be going to them. There's other studs I prefer over Randle. Barrett, honestly, just hasn't been a guy you really wanted. I mean, he had 39 DK points against Boston, but the floor on RJ Barrett is definitely low. We've seen some, pretty disappointing games from him. This matchup here is not the best, so overall, I think a lot of my exposure in this game, a lot of my interest is coming from the Lakers side. I don't see too much I really look to on the Knicks. So looking at the next game, San Antonio and Orlando. Now in San Antonio, I believe this is also a back-to-back for the Spurs, so keep an eye on that. I think they played Sunday night, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong there, but I thought the Spurs played Sunday, or it might have been Saturday. Yeah, they did play Sunday. They played the Mavs on Sunday. So yeah, this is a back-to-back for the Spurs. We've seen Pop do some weird stuff on back-to-backs. We've seen him limit minutes before. We've seen him rest some starters. Just keep an eye on the injury report. I assume everyone's good to go here. If that is the case, I don't think there's really much I'm looking to from San Antonio. San Antonio, kind of like the Knicks, another team I just haven't really been rostering guys from. I think the last time I played a Spur was 2 weeks ago. I played Jakob Poeltl, and it was one of my good lineups a couple weeks ago when I had a takedown. I just haven't really been rostering any Spurs lately. I don't think this is a slate where I'm really going to anyone on San Antonio. If you force me to play a Spur, it would probably be DeRozan or Murray, but I don't see much that stands out from the Spurs side. Now on Orlando, this is a team that's dealing with some injuries. Chuma Okeke was out on Sunday. Otto Porter Jr. was also out. Plus, Mo Bamba was on the injury report, but he wound up playing. This is a back-to-back, so we don't exactly know if Okeke or Otto Porter is going to be in or out today. I don't see a ton that really stands out from Orlando. Even if Okeke and Porter were to be out again, I don't think that really impacts too much. This Orlando team, they're going to run a deep rotation every night. They're going to play, a lot of guys. A lot of guys are going to get minutes for this team. I don't think there's really going to be anyone that plays massive minutes on a nightly basis. I just don't see much here. Mo Bamba was actually really chalky on Sunday night. I didn't exactly understand that. He did have a really good game, though. I believe he finished with close to 30 DK points. I think he played 24 minutes. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, he's going to get 22, 24 minutes off the bench. He's basically going to split the center minutes with Wendell Carter. Mo Bamba's been a productive player when he does get minutes, but still, I just don't want to roster a Mo Bamba at 4,300 if he's only playing 22 minutes. Especially if he's going to be popular. He was really popular for some reason on Sunday, and it actually worked out for people that played him. I don't see myself going to Mo Bamba today. I just don't really like anyone from this Orlando team. They're just not a team I really want to be rostering guys from with how much, they're splitting up the minutes, with how deep a rotation they're running. Unless we get word that some guys are going to be out because of the back-to-back, I don't see too much that stands out from the Magic today. So we can go ahead and move on to the next game, Brooklyn and Minnesota. So this is where it starts to get really interesting. On the Brooklyn side, we know that James Harden's going to remain out, and Kyrie Irving is also going to be out today for personal reasons. So that basically leaves KD as kind of the last star, standing for this Brooklyn team. He's their last healthy guy, I guess, or he's, the guy that's going to be actually playing today. 9K for KD, in my opinion, is insanely too cheap if we know that he's getting full minutes today. So he's played 2 games since coming back from injury, and both were big-time blowouts. Both games, the New Orleans game, Brooklyn won that one by 28, and then last game against the Lakers, they lost by 25. KD obviously was not able to play his normal minutes in those games because of the blowout. He's been on a minutes restriction lately. I would assume that, if those two games were to have been close, that he would have played more than 19 and 24 minutes. So assuming today's game stays close, I think we get close to normal minutes from KD. I think he plays at least around 28 to 30. I mean, with no Harden, with no Kyrie, like Kevin Durant should be probably like 10,500, closer to 11K. I mean, he is definitely underpriced. The only concern is just how many minutes does he play. As long as we can get some confirmation that he's not going to be on a strict limit or anything, if he can play at least like 30 minutes, I think Kevin Durant can easily pay off a 9K price point in 30 minutes with no Kyrie and with no Kyrie and no Harden, because he's going to dominate the usage. We know KD still has a ton of upside for fantasy. He's a guy that obviously is an elite scorer. He can get rebounds, he can get assists, he can block shots. I like KD a lot here. I don't know if people are going to go to him today with the minutes concerns, but I think for now I'm fine, plugging him in. We'll have to see what kind of news we get. If we do get word that he's going to be on like a 25-minute limit, then I'll probably get off of him. But if we can find out that he's going to play anywhere near 30 minutes or even more than 30 minutes, I'm totally fine paying up for KD on this slate. He does look like one of the top studs, assuming that we can get around 30 minutes from him. $43 on Yahoo, definitely one of the power forwards I'm looking to jam in today. So obviously KD, I like a lot without Harden and without Kyrie. Joe Harris, I don't think his role changes too much. We've seen even with all these guys out, like Joe Harris can still just go out there and, not really do much. So I don't think I really want to go to him today. Bruce Brown, though, is I think the guy that, the next guy I'll be looking to from Brooklyn. I think he's most likely going to be their starting point guard for this game without Harden and without Kyrie. Bruce Brown he's been up and down this year. Like even when these guards have been out, he's had some bad games. He's had some good games though in the past. I like Bruce Brown here. 4,800 I don't think is like a great price tag. It's not like he's 3,700, but still, if we're going to get 30 minutes from Bruce Brown, I assume he starts and plays around 30 minutes. If we're going to get around 30 minutes from him without Kyrie and without James Harden, I mean, he should be productive enough in a good matchup against Minnesota to where he can pay off 4,800. Now, obviously, he's going to not be as productive playing alongside KD, but still, he should be their primary point guard, should get the minutes with all these guys out. So I do like Bruce Brown quite a bit as well. He's super cheap on Yahoo, so I'll definitely be looking to him over there, only at $12 at point guard. Definitely like Bruce Brown today. But LaMarcus Aldridge is also out for Brooklyn, so that does impact guys like Jeff Green, Blake Griffin, Nicholas Claxton. I think if I had to go to anyone, any of these bigs from Brooklyn, I want to see their starting lineup first. I assume that they start Jeff Green at center, but we could see them start Blake Griffin. DeAndre Jordan's been basically out of the rotation lately. I don't think he's played like their last 3 or 4 games he hasn't played. I doubt DeAndre Jordan plays here, but it wouldn't be surprising if they just put him in the starting lineup. Assuming though that one of Jeff Green or Blake Griffin starts at center, then I think those are guys you can definitely look to, as cheaper options for value. Without Kyrie and without Harden, these guys should also be a little bit more productive. Jeff Green's kind of been an up and down guy this year, but in games where he does get minutes, he can, produce enough, especially for 4,600 to be a solid play at this price point. And then Blake Griffin, another guy that hasn't been insanely productive this year with the Nets, but he really hasn't been seeing many minutes. I mean, the most minutes he's played since with Brooklyn is like low 20s. Maybe without Marcus Aldridge here, they give Blake Griffin like 25-ish minutes. I don't exactly know. A starting lineup's going to be very important. I assume it's Jeff Green who starts in place of Aldridge. Like they put Jeff Green at center. Like their starting lineup will probably be Bruce Brown. We know Bruce Brown will be in there. KD will be in there. Jeff Green will be in there. Joe Harris will be in there. And then maybe they start like an extra guard. They throw Shamet in there, or they throw like, Price Shamet. So that's probably what the starting lineup is probably going to be: Bruce Brown, Shamet, Joe Harris, Durant, and Jeff Green, if I had to guess. So if Jeff Green does start at center, I definitely have interest in him at 4,600. But we can go ahead and talk about the Minnesota side now. So on the Timberwolves today, this is a back-to-back for the Timberwolves, so keep an eye on that. DAngelo Russell is coming back from an injury, so it would not be surprising if he rests here on the back-to-back. He's actually been playing really, really well lately off the bench. He got up to 29 minutes last game against Boston. Right now, the Timberwolves are playing as I'm recording this video. I'm not exactly sure what Russell is doing. The game's about to be over. 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Russell's played 23 minutes. He's got 27 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. So Russell's having another pretty good game on Sunday night. I would assume that he probably rests here on the back-to-back given he's coming back from injury. But if we know DAngelo Russell's full go, I think he's someone that looks kind of appealing here at 6,600. I wish he would play more minutes. Like, at some point, I feel like they are going to move Russell back into the starting lineup. He's not going to be a guy that comes off the bench. He's going to be their starter at some point. They're going to move Rubio back to the bench, but I don't know if it happens today. Maybe it happens a couple games from now. 6,600 though, I think is a pretty appealing price tag for Russell if we can get like 25, close to 30 minutes from him in a good matchup in a fast-paced game. So if he plays today, I actually have some interest in DAngelo Russell. Towns though at the top, I think is probably one of the better pay-up options. Right now, I think I'd prefer Towns over guys like Luka and Embiid. I think Towns is probably up there in terms of favorite studs for me. Just a really good matchup. I mean, we've seen what centers have been able to do against Brooklyn this season. With no Aldridge, it's going to be some combination of Jeff Green, Blake Griffin, Nick Claxton guarding Towns. Like, this is a matchup that Towns should easily have a lot of success in. He did have a lot of success against Brooklyn when they played earlier this season. In 39 minutes, he had 62 DK points. So definitely have a lot of interest in Towns today as a pay-up option. But I don't see too much else that stands out from Minnesota outside of Towns and Russell if Russell plays. So yeah, that's probably it for me from this Minnesota team. We can go ahead and move on to the next game, the Wizards and the Jazz. So in the Wizards today, we got Russell Westbrook at the top for $11K. Westbrook continues to be a guy that you can basically roster every night. Obviously, without Bradley Beal, those few games that Beal was out, he was playing really well. Beal's come back these last two, though, against Golden State and against Phoenix. We've seen the production kind of come down a little bit for Russell Westbrook, but, you still look. He's got a triple-double in 4 straight games. Even with Beal in there, Russell's still been able to go out there and just, stuff the stat sheet, do what he does. He scores, he rebounds, he gets assists. The matchup here is not great against Utah. This is definitely a game that has some blowout potential. I know Utah's going to be without Clarkson. They're going to be without Conley. Right now, I think they're still favored by double digits, though, or close to it. Or we don't have a line on this game yet. But, yeah, as long as this game can stay close and we do get, 35, 36 minutes from Russell Westbrook, he's someone I'll definitely be looking to. I still would probably prefer Towns over him just because it's a better matchup for Towns. It's a better game environment, but I think Russell Westbrook's right there behind Towns in terms of favorite stud options for me. Now, Bradley Beal did sit out their last game on the back-to-back, but he is probable for today. He's expected to play. I really don't have much interest in Bradley Beal. He just really hasn't been playing that well lately. Until we see a good game from Bradley Beal, I just can't pay $8,900 for him. So really on this Wizards team for me, it's Russell Westbrook and it's probably nobody else. I don't think I'm considering anyone else on the Wizards today. So moving on to the Utah side, talking about the Jazz, this is going to be a pretty important team for sure. We already know that Mike Conley is out for rest. They have already ruled him out for this game, and we also know that Jordan Clarkson's doubtful once again. He's been out, I believe, their last 2 games. He's going to be out again today, most likely. So with no Conley, with no Clarkson, there's a lot of guys who benefit, and I think the guy that benefits most, obviously Donovan Mitchell, but Joe Ingles I really like today. I think $5,700, just way too cheap for Joe Ingles without Conley and without Clarkson. Super cheap on Yahoo as well at small forward, coming in at only $16. I think he's the guy that really benefits without those two. Should get more usage, should play more minutes. Just even over the last 2 games without Clarkson, he's played 35 and 31 minutes off the bench, has scored 33 and 35 DK points. Now with no Conley, I'm assuming that we get Ingles back into the starting lineup. Probably plays around 32, 34 minutes again. Great matchup against the Wizards. Hard not to like Joe Ingles here at $5,700. He is definitely underpriced today, especially since we know Conley's out too. Even if it was only Clarkson who was out, I would still be interested in Joe Ingles. But now that Conley's out as well, I think Joe Ingles is a clear play today. Donovan Mitchell, though, I think also benefits with these 2 guys out. Mitchell's basically going to be the primary point guard when he's on the floor. We've seen him have big games over these last 2 without Clarkson. Clarkson is a high-usage player off the bench, so getting him off the floor, that's going to benefit a guy like Donovan Mitchell, just going to allow him to do more offensively. 50, 57 DK points his last 2 games. Really good matchup against the Wizards. I think Donovan Mitchell, looks like a very good pay-up option as well. It's tougher to fit him in on DK, just because the pricing's a little bit tougher. It's a little bit, tighter on DK. But on Yahoo, you can very easily get to Donovan Mitchell. He's expensive. He's $42 at shooting guard, but the pricing is so soft on Yahoo as always. So I'm definitely going to be trying to jam in Donovan Mitchell at shooting guard. I think he is clearly one of the top shooting guard plays today, and overall probably one of the better stud options up there with guys like Towns and Westbrook. Definitely like Mitchell here. Definitely like Joe Ingles. Rudy Gobert, I don't know if it impacts him as much, but the matchup is really good against Washington. That I think Gobert is definitely someone you can look to. Bojan, at $4,900, I guess I don't mind. I think Bojan, Royce O'Neal, Gobert, these are more tournament plays for me. I know Royce O'Neal had a really good game last game. Normally this is a guy that I don't really like playing. He's just a guy that doesn't have much upside, but without Clarkson, without Conley, maybe Royce O'Neal can do a little bit more. Maybe he can contribute a little bit more. In terms of the bench guys, though, like I don't think there's going to be a ton of value from any of these bench guys. Like maybe they give a few more minutes to Georges Niang. Maybe they give a few more minutes to Miye Oni. Maybe like Matt Thomas comes into the rotation. I don't think he's really been in their rotation recently. I don't know if there's any bench guys I really want to go to from Utah. I think my main targets are definitely going to be Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles. But I don't mind Gobert, Bogdanovich, Royce for tournaments. I don't think I'm playing anyone that's coming off the bench, though, like Favors, Niang, Thomas, even if he plays, I don't have much interest in. So, yeah, that probably does it for this Utah side. But I do like those starters, especially Mitchell and Ingles. But moving on to the next game, the Bulls and the Grizzlies. So on the Bulls side today, I don't see a ton that really stands out here from Chicago. Zach LaVine has had two really, really good games against Atlanta, against Toronto. But the Bulls are playing on Sunday. He's kind of come back down to earth. I'm pretty sure he's not having that great of a game Sunday against Minnesota. Zach LaVine, now that his price is back up, to 8,700, he's not nearly as appealing as he was when he was 7,800, a couple of days ago. Not really interested in LaVine, not that interested in Vooch. Overall, this Bulls team I'm not really looking to today. It's also a back-to-back for the Bulls, so just keep an eye on that. I assume everyone plays here, but if maybe some guys were to get rested or something, then that would definitely change things. But until we get that news, we can't really discuss that. So for now, I don't see too much that stands out on Chicago. Now on the Memphis side, there are some guys I do have interest in here. Joe Val, I like quite a bit, 7,300 on DK. Joe Val's having a huge game Sunday against Indiana. He's been playing really well lately, been getting pretty good minutes too. Obviously, the Knicks game went to overtime, but even at the end of regulation, he had played like 31 minutes in that game. He's going to play around 30, 32 minutes here as long as this game stays close. We know Joe Val, a very productive player when he's on the floor, a guy that can score, can rebound. He's probably going to give you a double-double almost every night. The floor can be somewhat low for Joe Val. We've seen kind of some games where he puts up like 30, 35 DK points, but he can still go out there and get you a 50-piece. He's got that upside in him. I like the matchup against the Bulls. It is a Bulls team that does play pretty fast. So Joe Val, I think, is definitely my favorite play from this Memphis team. Right now, I probably would still take a guy like Andre Drummond for cheaper over Joe Val, but I think Valanciunas is definitely a strong option. Now, John Morant, the price tag just keeps coming down. He's down to 6,800 now. He did have a solid game against the Knicks, 38 minutes in overtime, 42 DK points. Not exactly sure what he's doing Sunday night against Indiana. Let me check the box score. So that game's already finished. John Morant finished with 23 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 4 turnovers. So that's like 36, 37 DK points. I mean, he didn't have that bad of a game Sunday night against the Pacers. Morant's been super, super frustrating to roster recently. Like, it seems like when he's in a good spot, he just never comes through for you. And then when he's really low owned in a bad spot, that's when he puts up like 50. This feels like a really good matchup for Morant. Pace up spot against the Bulls, a Bulls team that does play, fast, like we said. The price tag's so, like, 6,800 for John Morant does look super appealing. I have interest in Morant today. I don't exactly know if I'm going to play him or not, but he is definitely appealing at 6,800 in a pretty good matchup. Overall, though, I don't see a ton that stands out from Memphis outside the top two guys, J. Val and Morant. Kyle Anderson I've been interested in recently, but I think now that Brandon Clark is back, that kind of lowers my interest in Kyle Anderson, especially with his price coming up. So that really does it for the Memphis side. So we can go ahead and talk about the next game, Sacramento and New Orleans. So kind of similar to the Brooklyn-Minnesota game, this is another one that should be very high scoring, should be played at a very fast pace. On the Sacramento side, there's a couple guys I like here for tournaments. I don't know if anyone on the Kings are going to be, guys I would play like in cash games. It kind of depends on what value opens up as the day goes on. But a guy like De'Aaron Fox in tournaments, I have a lot of interest in here against New Orleans. I mean, we know the Pelicans play fast. They're not that good of a defensive team. Fox is, he's absolutely gone nuclear against the Pelicans through 2 games this year against New Orleans. I don't look too much into stuff like this, but it's crazy. He has averaged 70 Draftkings points through 2 games against the Pelicans. So he has dominated against this New Orleans team. Just anytime he plays New Orleans, he seems to go off. We know Fox has a ton of upside. We know he's going to play a ton of minutes. The matchup here is great. Game environment's great. Pace is fantastic. You really couldn't ask for a better spot for De'Aaron Fox. So he is definitely up there with a guy like Donovan Mitchell as a top pay-up guard option. I think Mitchell probably feels like the better play, but it's super close between him and Fox. I do have a lot of interest in De'Aaron Fox today for sure. He's definitely my favorite play from the Sacramento team. Guys like Holmes and Buddy Hield, Halliburton, you can maybe go to in tournaments. I don't consider anyone else, though, like a top play. I think Fox is clearly the top play from Sacramento, and then, Hield, Halliburton are just like lower owned tournament options. But this is a team you could definitely get exposure to just because of the game environment, because of the pace, just due to how many points we expected to be scored here. On the New Orleans side, though, I mean, there's some appeal for me from the Pelicans, too. This is a back-to-back for the Pelicans, so keep an eye on that. Brandon Ingram's come back from an injury. Zion, obviously he had that thumb injury. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys rests or something, but assuming that everyone's good to go here, Zion, like at 9,700, his price has gotten to a point where I don't think he's going to be someone I'd try and jam in today. Would I be surprised if Zion puts up another huge game? I would not be surprised because this is obviously a great matchup for him to do that. Now his price, though, puts him in like tournaments only for me. I don't think he's someone I'd be getting to in cash games or even even in my one lineup. I don't think I'd be playing Zion in my one lineup, but I'd still have him in my player pool if I was playing multiple lineups. I guess the same could be said for Brandon Ingram. I mean, the matchup's good here for these Pelicans guys, but like they all feel kind of priced appropriately. Zion, Ingram, Bledsoe. Like you could get stealing games from these guys, but none of them stand out at their price points. I think my favorite play from this game is definitely De'Aaron Fox. Some of these Pelicans guys I like in tournaments, but none of them stand out as top options or core options at their prices. Unless some guys were to get ruled out, on the back-to-back, then that would definitely change things. But for now, we don't really have that news. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next game, Denver and Golden State. On the Denver side, really only the injury to talk about here is that Jamal Murray, he's been out for like the last 3 or 4 games. He did not play Sunday. They played Boston on Sunday. It's a back-to-back for Denver, so we don't exactly know if Jamal Murray's going to be in or out. I think if he's out again, I don't know if that really changes too much just because everyone that's kind of benefited with him out has really been priced to reflect that. Even like a guy like Will Barton, I mean, I guess you could go there if Murray were to sit, but 5,300, he feels kind of priced appropriately, maybe a little bit too cheap. Campazzo's been starting in place of Jamal Murray. He did have a decent game Sunday against Boston, played 33 minutes, had 26 DK points. He's still relatively cheap at 3,600, so if you want to go to Campazzo, if Murray's out, I don't mind him. But overall, I think my favorite play from Denver is definitely Jokic. Now, there's probably some other studs I'd rather get to. Like, I think I'd rather play Mitchell and Fox for cheaper. I think I'd rather play Towns as well. But, Jokic obviously is a guy that can go out there and just put up 60, 70 points any night. Matchup here against Golden State, pretty good, I would say. Golden State, not really a team we should be scared to attack, honestly. So, definitely have interest in Jokic. But, like, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, I don't think I'm really going to. Overall, there isn't like any top plays from Denver for me, but I think Jokic in tournaments makes sense. I think, Will Barton, Campazzo, you can look to if Jamal Murray's out again. But we can talk about the Golden State side now. So from the Warriors, we do know that Kelly Oubre is going to be out again. He was out there last game. He's going to be out again. Plus James Wiseman, who got injured in their last game, looks like he's going to be out for potentially the rest of the season. With James Wiseman out, I don't exactly know what they're going to do with the starting lineup. So my best guess is that Draymond starts at center, and they probably slide Juan Toscano-Anderson into the starting lineup. I'm pretty sure that Juan Toscano-Anderson did start the second half in place of James Wiseman. So I think if he does start here, he is someone that I'll definitely be looking to for value, especially because we do know that Kelly Oubre is also going to be out. I mean, I guess they could start Kevon Looney at center. We got to wait and see what their starting lineup is. But if it is, like if they go with Curry, Wiggins, Curry, Wiggins, Bazemore, obviously Bazemore starting in place of Oubre, Juan Toscano-Anderson, and then Draymond. If they go with those 5 guys, there is definitely some value from this Golden State team. So Kent Bazemore, I assume, will start again in place of Oubre. He played 32 minutes last game in the starting lineup, was pretty productive, had 29 DraftKings points. 4,300, the price tag did come up a little bit, but honestly, he does still feel a little bit too cheap with Kelly Oubre out again. So I do like Kent Bazemore a lot as a value option. Pretty cheap on DK. He's also pretty cheap on Yahoo as well. Looking at the small forward position, he's $11 over there. So I think if you need a cheap small forward, if I can find the salary, I'd rather play Joe Ingles, but Kent Bazemore is definitely someone you can go to. And then, yeah, if Juan Toscano-Anderson starts, like if they start him at power forward and then start Draymond at center, I do like Juan Toscano-Anderson for value. So last game against Houston, he only played 17 minutes. I'm not exactly sure if that was like all in the second half or what. Like I don't exactly know when he checked into the game. I probably should have checked this before I started recording. So let me pull up this Rockets game. So Juan Toscano-Anderson, let's see if he played any in the first half. I don't think he did. Like I don't exactly know when Curry got hurt, but I'll check this just to see. So wait, they played Washington last game. Who started? I thought Juan Toscano-Anderson started the second half in place of Wiseman. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they started Looney. No, Looney didn't play last game. So they played, let's see, Draymond, so, oh, the Washington game, so they played, I thought they played Washington on Friday. I think I got things mixed up here. But I'm guessing they played Houston maybe? Or I don't even know. I'm kind of confused right now, but it looks like Juan Toscano-Anderson did play 17 minutes after Wiseman had gotten hurt. I don't know if those all came in the second half or what, but if we do get Juan Toscano-Anderson in the starting lineup, sorry about the confusion, guys, but if we do get Juan Toscano-Anderson in the starting lineup, 3,200, I like him a good amount for value. He is someone I'll definitely be looking to as a value play. But yeah, this Golden State team is a team I think does stand out as terms of value options, depending on what their starting lineup is. I'm assuming Bazemore starts again, and if JTA starts, he'll be someone I look to for cheap as well. Draymond, though, with Wiseman out, I do have a little bit more interest in just because he'll get more minutes at center. He's productive when he plays more at center. Matchup here against Denver, I would say, is not the best, but if you want to go to Draymond, I don't mind him at 6,700. Curry, at his price tag, I don't have that much interest in. I'd rather play Jokic, Westbrook, Mitchell, Fox, Towns, like all these other guys we've talked about. Really, I think this Golden State team is a team I'll be looking to for value. I don't see too much else, though, outside of the cheap options we mentioned. So that does it for the Golden State side. Let's go ahead and talk about the last game on the night, Houston and Phoenix. So on Houston today, I don't see too much that stands out from Houston. Sterling Brown did get injured last game, and he's going to be out today. I don't think that changes too much. Sterling Brown I don't think he really was playing that much anyway. He was getting about mid-20s minutes. Maybe with him out, you see more minutes for a guy like DJ Augustin or Avery Bradley, but I don't think those are going to be guys I really look to roster. If I was going to play anyone on this Houston team, it would probably be like Kelly Olynyk or John Wall. Kelly Olynyk, he's been starting in place of Daniel House, and he's been playing pretty well. Been getting around 32, 34 minutes. His price has gotten to a point, though, where he doesn't really stand out as a top option. He was a really good play when he was like 5K. Now that he's 6,600, I don't have as much interest in Kelly Olynyk. But I guess if you did force me to play a Rocket, it probably would be him. Overall, though, I don't see a ton that stands out from Houston. Now, on the Phoenix side, it's kind of the same thing. DeAndre Ayton, I think, would be my favorite guy to go to from Phoenix. But overall, this is not a team I have much interest in, and this is not a game I really have that much interest in. I'd rather play Drummond at center, I think, over Ayton. I'd probably rather play J-Val as well over Ayton. But Ayton, I think, is definitely my favorite son. Chris Paul and Booker, I don't have that much interest in on this slate. I'd rather play Fox and Mitchell over Booker. I'd rather play those guys over Chris Paul as well. So, yeah, that does it for this game, and that does it for all 9 games on this slate, guys. I hope you did enjoy this video. I do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, just hit that like button down below before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well, and be sure to click that notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also get notified every time I do live stream. I should be back this afternoon, Monday afternoon, around 4:30 Eastern time for a live stream. So if you want to check my YouTube channel then, I should be live breaking down the slate. You can come and hang out. I can answer all you guys' questions. We can talk through everything once again in the live stream. But best of luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks as always for your support. We'll see you in the next one. Good luck, guys. Peace.